communication with Southern California. Channel 9 Public Affairs presents the show where kids tell it like it is. Teen Talk.
Let me start off this morning with a question. If your school was given quality instructional material and equipment for free by simply showing a couple of television commercials in the classroom each day, would you take it? How about being given the latest up-to-date textbooks with some printed advertisements inside to pay for them? Sound far-fetched? Well, in this age of tight school budgets, commercials in the classroom are already a reality in many schools around the country, and more may be on the way. Good morning, everyone. I'm Joseph Feinstein, and welcome to our 9th year of Teen Talk. Our controversial topic this morning goes right to the heart of education in the 1990s. What price are we willing to pay for quality education? A few months ago, a half dozen schools around the country got their first taste of commercials in the classroom, a program called Channel 1. Produced by Whittle Communications, Channel 1 brought the news of the world into the classroom in an entertaining, high-tech style. For showing the program, the schools received satellite dishes, video equipment, and other assorted materials valued at between $50,000 to $75,000. But there was a catch. To help defray the costs, 2 of the program's 12 minutes were advertisements. One of those schools receiving Channel 1 was Gar High School in Cerritos, California. Today we're joined by several students from Gar who witnessed firsthand this experiment in how business might help pay for education in the future. Welcome, panel. Welcome to Teen Talk. It's good to see you. It's good to start off this 9th year with such an alert and wonderful-looking panel. Tell me, how did you feel about Channel 1? What were the pluses? What were the minuses? How did you react to it? Lydia?
I feel that Channel 1 is a great opportunity. It gives us a chance to watch the news when we don't have time to watch it at home. And as far as the commercials, well, we have commercials every day in school when the teachers advertise PSAT and SATs. Those are commercials, so I feel that it's a great program, and I would like to see it be back at Gar.
Okay, I'm glad to hear your opening comment. Thank you. And Bill, how do you feel about the program?
I think the program, it really helps, you know, about the news, telling people around the world about what's going on. And the program, it includes about like the people going to other countries, and you know, tells about how the teenagers are, what their views on like different kinds of government and their government. Like for instance, one program had Russia, and went inside Russia telling about the kids, and like how they live, what went on, and then.
Did you find that informative?
Very informative.
Really?
Yeah, very.
Okay. And how about you, Christina? What did you think of Channel 1 as a program?
I thought it was great. Probably the best thing about Channel 1 is that it does give the news from, you know, a perspective that we can understand it. One thing that especially touched me was, I can't even remember the actual news situation, just what the kid felt. They showed a child that had been, you know, in this area of war, and he got his leg blown off, and they had this quote from him that said, "I'd do it all over again, just as long as I could go back and fight." And it makes you really see things from a point of view that not the adults just see, but from other kids, and that's the important part of it.
Yeah, the gal, I think Susan Winston, is the executive producer of Channel 1, and she was very anxious to try to make the program gear it to young people's understandings and appreciations, and also kind of delve into the dilemmas of what young people face. Max, how did you see Channel 1?
Well, I thought it was great. There's a big problem right now with teenagers as far as illiteracy or ignorance and stuff like that. And it's kind of a sad commentary on our society, but you need a gimmick to reach these people. And video with the graphics and the music and everything is one way it catches their eye and they'll see it. And so this is a great program like that, and everybody agrees that, hey, this is really neat. You need to, you know, these kids are learning all that kind of stuff. Everybody says it's really great. And then the big catch-up is on the commercials. You know, everybody says, okay, the commercials, you know, we shouldn't have that in the classroom. It's really bad. But you look at the school, the only way we can see is because we have all this equipment now. We have a color television in every classroom. We have a satellite dish. We have a VCR. and something has to pay for it, which is the commercials are necessary. No one just comes in and gives us all this equipment. The school board doesn't give us this money. We don't even have carpet in all of our classrooms. We don't have enough money to give us $100,000 worth of equipment. So something has to pay for it.
I was glad to have chalk in my classroom, not carpet, yeah.
Something has to pay for it, and it's the commercials. Until another company comes out with a comparable video show who will give you the equipment with no commercials, we have an argument.
Yeah, well, that kind of charity I haven't seen yet. As a teacher of 32 years, I never saw that. Did you and your friends discuss Channel 1? I mean, when you were outside of school, was there some discussion about what was happening, Heidi?
Yes, it aired right before. It was the end of the class period, so we saw it right before we went out to snack. And so everyone, you weren't talking about who was dating who and what you're going to do Friday night and Saturday night. Now you're discussing what was going on in the world abroad, you know, what was going on in Iran, how the Russian children were. You saw different aspects of life, so you could talk about more things. And
did you really talk about all those things?
Yes, sir.
That's true.
I really did.
Well, that's wonderful. That's absolutely wonderful. You too?
Yeah, it opened up a broad, prospect. I mean, not only like my history class was right after third period, which was when we had it.
Yeah.
And at the beginning of class we talked about what we had. And it's like a lot of students, they don't watch news. So when you watch it right then, they know what they're talking about. They can keep up. It just goes right with it.
It must have been so nice to have something that was unifying for a school as well. Everybody in that school was seeing the same thing at the same time. So it would have to add a certain kind of togetherness about everybody. Did it do that for you?
Yeah, it made my conversation more intellectual. I mean, instead of just sitting there and just doing nothing at snack, you talked about what was important, why it was important. You really got good aspects of the reasons. I mean, nobody really, if you watch the news by yourself, you can't really bring it to your friends and say, well, this is happening in the world. They'll be like, what are you talking about?
What we got to talk about is a commercial, and we got to take one of those commercial breaks. Channel 1 has obviously helped teens to think more about the world around them, but the controversy over showing commercials in the classroom remains. When we come back, we'll ask our experts if they agree that Channel 1 and other advertiser-supported programs should be banned from schools. Don't go wasting. Last summer, California Superintendent of Public Instruction Bill Honig left no doubts where he stood toward Channel 1. He said the program was exploiting a captive teenage audience for commercial gain, and he banned it from showing in any California classroom. Well, our panel saw Channel 1. Panel, did you feel you were being exploited in any way? Take it, Susie.
No, I don't think we've been exploited. When we were shown the commercials, it was usually after a pop quiz, and we took time to discuss the questions in class and try to figure out the answer. And these commercials that we saw, we've seen them before. We know what they are, and so it's not like we really want to see them again. So we just blocked it out.
Well, when I went to see Mario Baca's class, and at the time at Gar High School last year, to see what was happening, I saw the kids just totally be disinterested in the commercials and very interested in what was happening, with the program itself. So that was my experience as well. What kind of experience did you have, Chris?
Oh, well, as far as the commercials went, like everyone knows, if you were in there, the class just wasn't interested in the commercials. You have to give teenagers the credit that they're not just going to sit there and see 2 minutes of commercials and go right out and buy the products that they're advertising. I mean, we can make our own decisions. We don't need to see commercials to, they don't affect us that much.
All right, then let's say Superintendent Honig just walked into the studio and he's standing here now and he's talking with you. What would you say to him? Bill, what would you tell Superintendent Honig? He said, no more Channel 1 in California schools.
I wouldn't tell him nothing. I'd ask him. Why are you taking this away from us? It's very educational for us. And I'd ask him, if we could have it back, if there's anything that we could do as a school to get it back. And if we couldn't get it back, I don't know, it'd just be hard,
Okay. Yeah. And Max, what would you like to say to him?
I'd like to say to him, if you're going to take this away from us, give us something comparable. Give us something that will show the students the news of the day up to the minute. Give them something that will show them how teenagers are around the world. Give them something that they can relate to and they can learn through without the commercials, and fine, but that's not happening.
No, it really isn't happening. For some strange reason, nothing like that is happening. Did you want to say, what would you say to him?
I'd like to invite him into the classroom to watch. That's one thing he never did do. He never saw how the students reacted to the commercials and so forth itself. Like he watched it alone, probably without students around him. He didn't see them talking, see how they could tune him out. I mean, the age bracket of watching is between 14 and 18. And at that point, we're old enough to decide for ourselves what we want and don't want.
Was there further discussion about the things you saw, let's say, not only with your friends? Did you talk about this at home, John?
Yeah, I talked about it with my parents. So my father's a teacher, so he knew what was going on and he'd seen it. And my parents also agreed that, it's better. It's better than having nothing. And at this point, as Max had said, there's nothing that can be offered to us for free. You need the commercials to sponsor it.
I think that the idea of getting a free TV set in every classroom, I think the idea of 1,000 free hours of satellite programming, aside from the 60 minutes every week of Channel 1, is just a very nice thing. Plus all the equipment that you can have to develop a TV station right there at the school, because they give the video equipment too, So that too. What's your opinion? What would you say to Superintendent Honig if he were here?
I would tell him that, commercials are what? It's like commercials, I think commercials are just a pastime. It's just a time to say, just like a time to go get something to eat or to snack on while the TV program is off. And, nobody really, it's not like, because one of the commercials we've seen were 501s. It's not like I'm going to go, oh, Mom, I want some 501s now. I see the commercial on TV at school. It's not like that. So I don't feel he should just totally get rid of the program because of the commercials.
Well, there also was a Ford commercial, and you can't go home and say, Mom, get me a Ford. Let's be adult about this, right? Suppose, that you watch commercials at home. There's a big uproar, a couple of minutes of ads in the schools. What do you see as such a big deal about this whole idea of the commercials? What is this big deal that Superintendent Honig and a couple of other professional teachers and people in administration are very worried about these commercials? What are they so worried about?
I think it's because we have to watch them. We're in a classroom with 30 other people. We're with a teacher. We're supervised. It's on. Usually the lights are out. We have to sit there and we have to watch it. And I think that it's wrong what they're saying about, that we're going to go buy these things. We're consumers like everyone else. You're not, just because you're seeing 501s or Wrigley's or whatever the thing, you tune that out. You see commercials at home and you tune out what you've seen to watch what you haven't seen, and you talk during those times. So I don't see what the big controversy is over.
Wouldn't it be nice if they could train kids how to watch a commercial? Wouldn't that be something worthwhile? That might be a really neat idea, and then you can see them in a different kind of way. And talking about commercials, one argument that Bill Honig uses is that there are only a couple of commercials now, but that it becomes a slippery slope where more and more advertisements will be incorporated into every aspect of the classroom. We'll talk to our panel of experts about that when we come back from our commercial break. Take care, and we'll see you in just a second. There's a real problem with money in our schools, or at least the lack of it. Channel 1 has come up with one way of bringing quality instructional material into the classroom: advertising. But let's go beyond television. Our panel would probably agree that they often use old, out-of-date textbooks in some of their classes. Would anyone here have a problem if their school received nice new textbooks that had a few advertisements in them? Huh? Heidi?
I think it's the same thing as when you're talking about Channel 1. Are we willing to have the knowledge of a 10-minute news show with the 2-minute commercials? It's the same type of thing, and I again say yes, because we have advertisement at school. Whittle does a layout. We have about 6 of them on our campus, advertising like a calendar, and it tells you what's going on in the world.
That's
and that
right,
sort
it's
of
called Connections Magazine.
Yes,
and I've been involved with that since the startup of that magazine. It's wonderful. I think it's just absolutely wonderful.
People watch it because they put stars on the show, so they go over there to look at their stars, but they end up reading the things too.
Right.
And they have advertisement at the bottom. You know,
Three big advertisements
That's
on the
right.
bottom of every panel.
So advertisement is a way of life. Everywhere you walk, every time you listen to a radio, a TV, everything you see, it has to do with advertisement anyways. And for the benefit of having new books, which we never get. I mean, you're the 10th name to write your name in the cover.
I used to be the third label after the other 2 labels were in, so I was number 74 or something. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, they've been through the mud and everything. It's it's really worth having the benefit of having a new book, just as it's benefit having the knowledge of a TV show to watch.
Well, if you stretch it that way, then we could have a Pizza Hut desk, a brand new desk with a Pizza Hut commercial on it, or maybe an Arid school locker, the lockers advertising Arid deodorant, which the lockers can really use, I might add. Where do we stop? When do we stop with any of this kind of stuff? When do we stop, Julie?
I really don't know, because to me it's totally unnecessary. This is a tool that's been given to us, and for them to take, no tool is perfect. You're always going to need another tool. That tool is not going to do everything. So for this, there's going to be imperfection, and that's the advertisement. So what's wrong with
That is
it?
very, very sensible. That is a very sensible answer. No tool is perfect, and every tool has got some of the things that are wrong. Even when we used to get our free LA Times, the LA Times was nice enough to send us their newspaper very often if I requested a particular issue. And if we were using the LA Times, I mean, that's advertising is all over the paper, and that was in the schools as well. I don't know. What do you have to say about this one, Bob?
Now, we still get the LA Times in class. In our civics class.
Yeah.
We go over, we look in there, and we pick out current events about the world and stuff like that. And the advertisements, no one ever looks at the advertisements.
You're reading the personal columns, right? Single, young lady, 20, looking for it? No, you don't do that?
No.
Okay, good man.
Not yet.
But I stimulated a new idea.
Yeah.
What's he going to do Monday when he gets back to class? All right, well, do you think someday, despite Honig's protestations, these kinds of ads will be a part of the classroom? Do you think it's inevitable?
I think, there's a big difference, I think, between the TV monitors and our desks. Up to this point, the school funds have always been able to handle desks. Books, they buy the books not that often, but they buy them. I don't think it'll come to a point where we need them for the desks. The school's never requested anything of that sort, or never asked. Whereas you're talking about a $75,000 service we have here.
Contribution.
A school does not have that kind of money. Whereas, and I think it's 2 minutes. I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Okay. How about you, Chris? What do you think?
Well, like John said, it's just for the things that we need. We're doing fine with the books that we have, the desks that we have, the lockers that we have. But the thing is that we're approaching a problem that we have. The students, they don't get enough of international news, and we need something like that. And if we need the commercials from the funding, then so be it. There's no other way to do it.
What was the best part of Channel 1 for you personally?
Probably like the focus parts of it, where they talked about other kids and everything. Just the entire 10, 12 minutes of watching it gave you a broader spectrum of the world. You're not so into the classes that you do, and it just makes you have a sense of what else is going on, not just in your own life.
What was wrong with the show, you guys? Max, what was wrong with the show?
I didn't find much at fault with it, other than, it became fast-paced sometimes, almost too fast, because it's such a short period of time and so much news to say. Sometimes it kind of flew at you like that. But The studio that made this and the team that made this was very in touch with the students. They had surveys calling the students, and they came on campus and talked to people. They even had some of the students from our campus go and see the studios and tour them and talk with them and ask, well, what do you think about this? How should we do this? And they're very in touch with the students, trying to understand their concerns,
Okay.
that kind of stuff, and they corrected the problems.
Okay. Anything else, Lydia?
Yeah, I personally, I learned what was on the book of the Statue of Liberty. I learned that. That was July 4th, 1776, and I will never forget it. And, you know, it was very informative. I learned a lot, and I just hope that it'll just come back for my fellow students.
Well, they seem to indicate that they are coming back stronger and bigger and better than ever. They plan on adopting an advisory board to watch and oversee those commercials, to make sure that those commercials are proper and suitable for young people to see. I know part of the thing that I liked was the public affairs commercials, where they were stressing buckle up for safety, and they were talking about you know, being in touch with handicapped children and being aware that handicapped children exist and being patient with them. Those are the things that I particularly like about the commercials that I saw. Did you want to add anything?
Oh, I just wanted to add that what I think they can improve on is to make the segments longer and go into depth with them, instead of like this and this and this and then go on. You know, just like pause a while, and so it can sink in, and then, you know, we can think about it and actually go, yeah, you know, that, you know, yeah.
We're going to have to pause a while for right now so that these ideas can sink into our viewers' heads too. Susie, you gave us, all of you, you gave us a lot to think about. We'll be back with some final thoughts in just a moment. Just stay there. Don't go away. I got something to say. The fight over commercials in the classroom is very real. Many people are adamantly opposed to any commercial sponsorship in our schools that might affect the minds and hearts of our kids. Other people say a limited amount of advertising is a small price to pay to allow students to have the highest quality instructional material. While the debate rages on over how to finance the spiraling cost of a good education, let's keep one thing in mind. Our classrooms must remain the marketplace for ideas. We mustn't allow them to become simply a marketplace. For Teen Talk, this is Joseph Feinstein saying we'll see you very soon.